Welcome back to the latest episode of the Cortado Pause, the podcast where we talk to former high-level athletes or just individuals in general about sports, life after sports. Honestly, we just have a nice conversation over Cortado that they make and I rate. So today on the podcast, we actually have our first American on the podcast, coming all the way from Rochester, New York. Literally drove in yesterday night, staying the day, just to film this podcast. We have my friend, my former teammate, low-key my brother, Jacob Vitale here with me.
Yes. Thank you for that introduction, Daniel. And it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me and for hosting me tonight. Last night, that is. It's been great to see you, bro. We haven't seen each other in like 6 months, so we've had a lot to catch up on, personally, professionally. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we've caught ourselves like talking earlier today and last night, and getting into like the conversations. We're like, okay, save it for the podcast. Because
I got a lot to talk about.
Me and Jacob's journey, we crossed paths in freshman year in UVM, and we kind of have similar situations that we've been going through, and similar situations that we've kind of felt, and feelings that we've felt together, but while we're apart. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not explaining it well, but
yeah, I think our journey, like as athletes, was similar, and then like heading into figuring what we want to be after like our careers as athletes are over, and like how we can continue doing what we love, like, and as athletes.
We've kind of felt similar. We'll get into it more, but we've felt the same things, just situationally wise.
100%.
But before we get into that, because we have a lot to talk about, we got to do our Cortado Pause.
Let's do it.
You definitely never made a Cortado before.
Bro, I'm still trying to understand what the difference between a Cortado and a latte is. Like, I genuinely don't understand.
But you know, in Spain, which we'll talk about later, that's where I was introduced.
I've seen it on the menu before, of course.
And you saw, what's his name? Cabedo.
Shout out Cabedo, bro.
Cabedo was the first guy I ever seen drink a Cortado. We'll talk about Cabedo later. Yeah. No, we won't. But, bro, I gave you the gist and a little bit of how to make it, so close it up.
Close it.
Click.
Put this thing under there.
Click that.
The small one?
No, click the big one.
The big one? All right.
Yeah. And then let it...
And then I have to heat up the milk, right?
Yeah, just click that once. There.
Bang.
Now
just
we
like
wait.
That.
We wait, and then you might have to stop it, because like I told you...
Let's click that again.
You can click it again. Nothing's going to happen. Okay. Once it warms up, it's going to start going.
But
like I told you, you might have to stop it because... And remember...
It's got to be halfway, right?
The ratio is the most important part.
Okay.
And the way you pour the milk is also very important. I don't know if you know what to do, but I'm not going to tell you.
Is it like a beer where you have to like pour it on the side so it doesn't like bubble up?
What a college frat boy. I don't know anything about pouring beer.
Oh shit. It's overflowing, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, dude, it's already hot. It's okay?
It's okay.
I'm not even going to make a joke.
So be ready, bro.
All right, bro. Don't worry, I worked in the labs when I was in college. So.
For what?
I did not work, I studied.
In what?
Labs.
Oh yeah, weren't you like in aquatics? Not aquatics, like marine biology?
No, just straight biology, bro. Ready? 3, 2, 1, bang.
Bro, you have to stop it.
Oh.
What? Why would you think that would stop it?
I was more focused on the height, bro.
Okay, now pour the milk. Bro, take out the top. Are you serious?
Alright, bro, ready? So like I'm pouring a beer. Oh wait, is it one of those things where you have to like swirl it around?
Oh my god, bro.
You know what, guys? It's very clear I've never worked in a cafe before.
Finish making it.
Is this not it?
This is the one I'm gonna drink. Okay, no, that's mine? You're done?
This is yours, yes.
Okay, now
no,
make
I
yours.
need to make mine.
Okay, empty that.
Okay.
Put the next cap.
Bang. Alright, I've had some experience now, so...
It's not closed. It doesn't look too shabby, bro.
I think it's a little strong, bro, because we're going to need some energy for this pod.
Make it strong. I like it strong.
So to stop it, you just click the button again?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't just move the cup.
I thought it was like auto sense.
Have you never seen an espresso machine?
Not like this
So you're
one.
not familiar
No,
with
this
espressos?
needs more.
I thought you were Italian, bro.
We do Keurig in the U.S., bro. It's different.
Espressos. Keurig makes espressos.
No. We drink black coffee.
Your dad doesn't drink espresso?
Okay, hold up. Let me focus. What the bro? This is not on me.
What a fucking mess, bro.
I'm sorry, bro. This picture it doesn't have the spout that it needs.
No one made this mess, by the way. It's fine. It's not so bad, bro. What matters is how it
dripped off the
tastes.
table yet, at least.
Bro, it looks decent.
Okay.
All right,
Okay. Well,
let's
I
go try it.
want you to rate it.
We will.
Okay.
We'll go try it over there.
Let's get it. So do we like salute?
We'll salute. It looks, bro, like I know you made a mess and that was hectic with Batman and his bike coming around. A lot going on in that Cortado Pause. But, bro, if like if I ordered this and it came out, I'd be happy with like how it looks.
Yeah.
So in the end, presentation is huge. For me, presentation is a huge part of the Cortado.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that.
Salute to you.
Salute, brother.
Let's see it.
Okay.
What do you think about it? Because you.
I think I did 40-60 coffee to milk or espresso to milk.
So you had to put more milk in yours.
No, I need to put more espresso.
Yeah,
But it's good.
you put
Really,
more,
really
you put
smooth.
more milk.
Really smooth. What about you?
I really like yours.
Okay.
But the frother, whatever it was, and it was overflowing, it didn't warm up the milk enough. So it's a little bit like just room temperature, my coffee.
Okay.
But
It's not hot enough.
the ratio of espresso to milk is like literally spot on.
I mean-
it's like nice, bro. It's honestly really good.
I went to great lengths, bro. I got down and I was eye level with it.
James, I wish you could try it because it's really good. Should you try it? Bro, it tastes good.
Right, perfect.
Bro, the ratio's perfect.
I appreciate that.
Maybe it's the milk,
Appreciate
James.
that.
Maybe it's the milk you brought. No, it's not. It's the same milk.
Lactose free.
Bro, the ratio is honestly perfect. It's the best one I've had.
Is it lactose free?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Why? You're lactose intolerant?
Over the years, my body stopped producing the enzyme that breaks down lactose, which is lactase. So, yes.
That's true.
I can drink milk, like I can tolerate it, but I would prefer to drink an alternative or a lactose-free milk. Yeah.
That's cool. Anyways, your Cortado,
Yeah.
I think it's the best one I've tasted, but I can't give it like the top
Yep.
just because of like it not being warm enough.
Okay.
So this guy Brandon who works, like he's worked at cafes for like a long time. His was the best.
Okay.
But yours kind of tastes a little bit better. It's just like smoother.
Interesting.
James, you could vouch for it. It tastes really good, but it's just like not warm enough.
I got you.
So whatever Brandon was, I don't know the scores anymore, but you're just second right now. On
Okay.
the totem pole
I'll take
of
that. I
people.
appreciate it. That gives me confidence going into whatever I make my next Cortado. So.
Hopefully you start having Cortados and you bring it back to Rochester and you have sit down with your friends over there.
Yeah.
And have a Cortado with them.
I think I should start doing that because, I mean, we had a lot of little coffees and espressos when we were over in Spain, and it really hits after like 1 p.m. Really, just right after you eat, gets you going through the rest of your afternoon. So that's something that I should really take home with me.
Well, eventually we're gonna get into Spain, but I wanted you to just talk about your career
Yeah.
and soccer in general and just like the pyramid in the States and how it works, because coming from Quebec, and a lot of people watching this will be from Montreal, so they have literally no idea of how soccer in Rochester or New York works. So it's kind of take me back to young Jake Vitale, starting his soccer career. What got you into it? How you worked your way all the way to UVM, where our lives crossed.
Yeah, for sure. So going back, I'm 23 years old now, by the way. Going back 19 years was probably the first time that I really got involved in just like the game at an organized level. And I actually started playing at a local YMCA in Rochester. You guys have YMCAs here in Canada? Okay. So it's just an organization that, they have a gym like this. They bring people together. It's a community, and they do a lot of youth organization sports as well. So when I was a kid growing up, like, I pretty much played as many sports as I could, going back to like that 4 to 8 year timeline. I was playing soccer. I was playing this game called Focky. We called it Focky. It was like floor hockey, bro, but it was like with these foam poles. It was really fun, bro. We played in the gym floor, and like Rochester's like Montreal. It gets cold in the winter, so it's snowy outside. So you go in the gym in the winter and you play that. Swim lessons, baseball, lacrosse, wrestling. Those are kind of all the sports that I played growing up, and the Y was a big part of that. So I focusing on soccer here now, we did that for a couple of years, and then I got involved with an organization that was a little bit more local to where I live called Brighton Rec. Played that for 1 or 2 years, and then I moved up the food chain and played Brighton Travel, right? I'm 8 years old, and things are starting to get a little bit more competitive. But I'm only playing at like a local level, right? Before that, I was only playing like within an organization, within
Like house league.
house league.
Yeah.
You're never traveling away from where you practice, right? Like, and that's kind of how I'm sure that's how most youth organizations are run at that level, right? Wherever you are in the world. But I started playing, around Rochester and going to different towns and whatnot. And I did that for about 2 years, and then
And Rochester's like, just to give an idea geographically, is it upstate New York-ish?
Upstate New York. If you're familiar with Niagara Falls, I know it's a big Canadian landmark. It's just an hour and a half east of Niagara Falls. You take I-90 east, and you're in Rochester, just on the south side of Lake Ontario, smack dab in the middle of the south side of Lake Ontario. So geographically, let's put ourselves there. But yeah, back to like the pyramid of soccer in the U.S. Like, I'm kind of talking about how I'm working my way as one does when they're young. They just want to continue to get better. Soccer was something that I felt like I was talented at, and I really enjoyed it. So I always wanted to get better every single year and like keep pushing myself and play at the next level. So I got involved with an organization called Empire United at the time. Currently, they're known as RNYFC. And I started playing at that club level. This is where I'm 10 years old, by the way. This is where we're playing, kind of regionally. We're going to Buffalo, we're going to Syracuse, maybe we're going down to Binghamton. For those of you from Montreal, these are all spots in Western and upstate New York. Maybe some of these you heard of, but not really traveling more than 2 hours away. But the competition rises, right? When you start to,
Travel a little.
Travel, exactly. And I did that for a few years, and I loved it. I mean, bro, like it's where I met a lot of my friends that didn't go to my school, so it helps connect the dots with connecting with other people in the local Rochester area. That's always been one of my favorite parts about soccer and sports in general, is it connects you with other people. And we can talk about this a bit later, but I think that's one of the things that I appreciate the most about what soccer has given me, is just like people, people and relationships. So everything that I just talked about to this point is almost irrelevant. A lot of people have these, they grow up and they climb the ladder of, getting on a better team every year. And I felt like during that time I was always like one of the like better kids on my team, and I never really like hit a ton of adversity in my youth career. Rochester is a small place, right? Which means that it's a small place compared to Montreal, which means like the competition there might not be as strong, right? Which means that maybe I'm not pushing. I don't know what the level really is outside of Rochester. And so when I heard about the Development Academy League and the opportunity that I had to play in that with Empire at the time, that was something that I marked as like my biggest goal when I was like 12 years old. And this is something that you can relate to as well. You played in the same league
Yeah, and just to explain a little bit, this development league was called the United Soccer Development Academy, USSDA.
Yep.
And now it could be the equivalent as MLS Next Pro.
Yeah.
So basically, they turned USSDA into MLS Next Pro, and that's where I used to compete when I was with the Montreal Impact Academy. And Jake, when he played with Empire, was playing in that league as well, because it was derived of MLS academies, USL academies, and private academies like Empire.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks for breaking that down. And, just to kind of break down a little bit of the landscape of what U.S. soccer looks like at the youth level, before I get into my experience with the DA and how that propelled the rest of my career in the sport. I think it's important to note that a lot of people have problems with the U.S. soccer system, and a lot of people say that the best athletes aren't playing soccer, which is a part of the reason why the national team might not be having as much success as it could be or it should be compared to other countries who don't have as big of a population. But at the end of the day, I think it really comes down to the fact that there's really no cohesiveness within U.S. soccer. Everyone's trying to create their own organization to make their own buck. At the end of the day, it's a for-profit entity for most people. No, people aren't just starting these teams just to start them. And maybe I'm overgeneralizing. I'm talking more at the professional level, but even at the youth level, there's multiple different leagues that compete nationally. We can talk about ECNL, we can talk about the MLS Next League, and there's a bunch of different leagues regionally. You can break those down, and that kind of helps to sift the level a bit. But yeah, I don't really want to go more in depth.
Yeah, forget about the politics. I want to talk about you.
Yeah, just to break that down a little bit. So when I was in grade 8, I had my first opportunity to play at the U14 level with the Development Academy team with Empire. And I can remember I was in West Virginia with...
We have bad memories.
Bad memories. See, I had some good memories before that, which I'll talk about. I was there for the Region 1 championships there when I was... it's tough to remember. I think I was U12 playing with another Empire team that wasn't in the Development Academy. And I can remember we were having a pretty good run in that tournament. We ended up making it to the finals. We lost to Baltimore Celtic in the finals, which would have moved us on to nationals. I was 12 years old, so it's not something I think about every day now, but bringing that up, I'm still a little bitter, bro. I hate losing. But positive that I took out of that experience of that tournament, bro, I got a call from the Empire DA coach.
Yeah.
And he offered me a spot on the team, and I was over the moon, bro, because, to make this team was my biggest goal at that point in my life, and to see that come to fruition, it made me super excited. So going into 8th grade, start training with them. I think I was still I was starting to become a little bit more challenged in that environment. However, at the same time, I don't think that I was developing as fast as I could have been, right? You go back and you think about what you're doing when you're 12, 13 years old, and as much as you can give yourself leeway because you're just a kid, those are such important times to be developing as a kid, because it sets up your success as a 14-year-old and then a 15-year-old. And you see players I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm going to shout out Max Dowman, 15 years old, just started in the Champions League for the first time, and he's balling. You know what I mean? So if you're a young kid and you're watching this, it's never too young to start chasing those dreams and really becoming serious about whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. So I was in for a bit of a shock 2 years later when I had to make the jump from U14 to U16, right? There's a 2-year age gap there, and I wasn't selected to move on in the development academy program with Empire, and it was something that was the biggest chip on my shoulder in high school. There were some positives that came out of that moment. Like, I was allowed to play for my high school team, had an amazing time playing fall of 2017 with the Brighton Barons at the time, now Brighton Bruins.
You were still in high school in I graduated high school in 2017, bro.
You're old, bro.
Well, we don't have grade 12. So I would have graduated in 2018 if I was in America.
Right, because you just go to CJEP, right? And then you do like 3. So realistically, you have like
but it's just to
grade 12,
put into
grade 13, grade
perspective.
14.
Like, it's kind of crazy that you're like, oh, I'm on my high school soccer team in 2017. I was like, bro, I graduated high school in 2017.
Yeah.
I'm also old.
Also, to think about the fact that I got cut from the A team the same year that you're graduating high school. That's
And then we end up going to college together.
starting the same
year.
That is actually crazy.
How is that fair, bro?
See, everyone's journey in life is different. Like, that's just a core example. But yeah, I got to play high school soccer. You know, met some really, really close friends.
What's high school soccer like? I know, like, here we don't have high school.
Yeah.
Yes, a little bit. We have high school soccer, but I've heard you talk about high school soccer. I've heard other guys in the States talk about high school soccer and how it was like it was the best time. People would come to the games.
Yeah.
We'd get girls. Plays a role, no?
Hey, I'll tell you one thing about that. When you're playing high school soccer and it's an important game, it's an expectation that you bring your jersey and you find or you coordinate with a girl who is going to wear your jersey. And so,
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's a quintessential. It's a quintessential just moment in high school for you to ask a girl to wear your jersey if you're an athlete. So that's one example of like American high school sports culture that you can take away from this conversation. But like, to go a little bit more in depth about like what high school soccer is, it's the kids that you're taking classes with, the kids that you live in your town with. They're all competing for a certain amount of spots in the team. So you go through tryouts at the end of August, and some schools are more competitive than others. But at the end of the day, like, you just have a group of, and we can refer to boys high school soccer, you have a group of guys who, there might be some 8th graders in there might be some 9th graders, there might be some sophomores, and then there's the seniors and the juniors, the upperclassmen. So you kind of are able to learn some of these like leadership dynamics, and they really start to play out because if you're a senior in high school, like, sophomores are really going to look up to you.
Yeah.
So and you're walking in the halls together, and then there's the other community aspects of this, right? Like, a lot of people are coming to support you in these games, people that you go to school with, your teachers. So people that you're seeing every day are witnessing what you're working on as a team. So it's special in the fact that you get a lot of support in high school sports.
I think that's cool because, like you said, it builds a sense of community and within the school itself, and like, it gives you a sense of pride to,
for sure,
be an alumni of that school. For example, here, like, alumni of a high school, nobody cares what high school they went to. Nobody cares about giving back to that high school. But I think if there's one thing to take away from like America, and yes, like, it's not perfect, but I think just the high school sports, and like I said, yes, it's not perfect, but just the community that comes together around something like that's kind of irrelevant in high school sports, but is so important within the community, to me is pretty cool. And like, I got a taste of it because of UVM and the community aspect there, which I found awesome. And I think coming back in Montreal and being here, there's like zero sense of community because we're just like such a big city and everyone's doing their own thing. And I think I found a little bit of a sense of community being here at Circuit 16, shout out to Coach Adam in Circuit 16, training here and the community with the members that he has, and just like, I'm going off the rails, but
keep going.
that's like a sense of community
For sure.
that I really enjoyed training here. So just quick shout out to Circuit 16 and Adam for that.
Yeah, no, really nice gym here. It's my first time here, and it's quite the space. There's a sauna in the locker room, which I was a big fan of. But community is something that's massively important in life, and we were lucky enough to grow up within team communities for our entire life, right? Like you go back all the way to, first community starts in, your family, and then as you start getting more competitive with soccer, your team becomes someone that, people that you see every single day, people that, you train with every day, you're getting in arguments with them, and then you have to make up. So it's these super strong bonds that you're making with teammates. And then when you're talking about a community in which you're also like going to classes with, and your neighbors with all these people, so you're seeing them all over the place. It gives a really strong sense of community, and you and I are coming out of that environment where we were around teams our entire life, and getting a little bit of a taste of what it means to like build and find other communities, right?
Yeah.
Find and build communities. Which it's something exciting that's happening in both of our lives, I think.
All right, so now high school soccer, you play high school soccer. I want to jump a little bit ahead and jump me forward to the point where you're choosing a college and how you end up committing to UVM.
Yeah, good question. So, after I got cut from the DA Empire my sophomore year, I worked super, super hard. I worked my ass off like that entire sophomore year, because I honestly believed that I belonged in that group.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to play on another team and like be a leader and develop some confidence as a player. And the next year, my junior year, so for you Canadians grade 11, I jumped back into the Empire team, and they were a massive part of the reason why I was able to continue my soccer career into the next level, into college. So I think I developed a lot as a player because I'm playing at a higher level. By the way, I was a center back in high school, and grade 11, grade 12, I was a center back, and playing for Empire, playing week in, week out, going to showcases in Florida and California, and these were the opportunities where I had to reach out to coaches, email, have them show up to the games, scout me, and then have that back and forth exchange. This is just a recruitment process, right? That's what happens. And if you're a high school athlete, and Daniel is showing a light on what NCAA sports are about, it's a cool opportunity for you. And Montreal, people from Montreal like maybe don't have as much of an opportunity to be involved in that because it's just not as well known. So it's good that you're showing a light on this. But a lot of if you're not like a top recruit, you have to put yourself out there and you have to reach out to coaches. So I built up a list of like 100 schools that I thought, I could go here. And I just reached out to every single coach. And some responded, some didn't. Vermont was one of the teams that came to one of my games. I believe it was in my junior year down in Florida. So it would have been 2018 in December was the first time that I had conversations with Vermont. And they brought me down for an ID camp where I showcased myself in front of some of their other recruits. And then they wanted to see me prove myself again. So I had to go back to another ID camp back in June.
Money, bro. Money,
bro. Yeah, they really got every dollar they could. But, I think I ended up proving myself, and I think I committed there in like July of 2019, I believe it was. So I went into grade 12 like knowing where I wanted to go to college. which is like a relief. Like and this is a dream that I'd had since I was like a very little kid, was to play Division I soccer.
How did it feel when you signed that national letter of intent? Because for me,
Yeah.
when I signed it, like so my goal, like obviously, was always to sign with the first team of Montreal Impact. And when I didn't, like, kind of going to college was not seen as a failure, but it's like, oh, this kid's just going to college because he didn't sign with the first team. That was kind of especially at the time, because not a lot of kids would go to college from here.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, oh, he's just going to college, he's going to go play, and it's just kick and run and just athletes, and it's not professional at all, which is totally the contrary, because now you could see like all these kids that are wanting to go to the States and realize like the level is really, really good, and the setup is fantastic. But when I signed it, I was obviously happy that I signed it, but it wasn't like this was my goal, like, and I accomplished, like, it wasn't something I could check off my bucket list.
Right.
I signed it because I'm like, okay, like, this is kind of my plan B, let's get it. But for you, it must have been different, right?
Yeah, I mean, you were shooting for the stars and you landed on the moon, right? One of those things. For me, like, I landed in my stars because this is my big goal. Like, when I was like growing up as a kid, I never really visualized myself to become a professional soccer player. Obviously, like, I thought like it'd be really cool, but I look at things, and I think I've looked at things my entire life as like, what do I need to do to get to the next goal? So like actionable steps, and like I wanted to play Division I soccer. Before you can play professional soccer, you have to, from an American perspective, you have to go the Division I route, because that's the highest level that you can play at when you're 18. Going the traditional American route is going to play Division I soccer. So for me, it was a very proud moment for me, because it was accomplishing my dream.
And that's where our lives cross. Freshmen's coming in during COVID 2020 in the dorms of UVM. And I remember that, like, I had a very good freshman year, and like it showed that I was older as a freshman, because coming in as a 20-year-old and you guys were 18, it showed. Like 2 years difference at that age, it's you mature a lot as a player, physically as well. Maybe not physically for you because you were already a beast, but you just became more of a beast in those next 2 years. But for me, my freshman year was a very positive year, and I remember you struggled a lot your freshman year on trying to find, like, and the level was difficult for you. Can you take me back? And I know you put in a lot of work, and that work proved dividends. So just take me back to how you felt like coming into your freshman year, and just like the shock that you had.
You hit the nail on the head with that, because like, I mean, anyone who was on the team with us would have placed me as the worst player on the team our first semester freshman year. And my mentality coming in, this is, we're arriving in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont, August of 2020. So, really just right in the middle of COVID. There's so much going on in the world, but our lives continued, and for that, I think we're lucky. Obviously, we dealt with a lot of challenges. I think I had an opportunity during the summer to do a lot of training. Like, I worked really hard. I ran so many hill sprints. And I thought that like coming in super fit was going to be like one of the best ways that I could prove myself. And at the end of the day, I think I probably could have benefited from a little bit more technical training, because when I did come in my first semester of my freshman year, like it was a tough adjustment for me. All these players were older than me, more experienced than me, just better on the ball than me, and it was frustrating. And it took a mental toll on me, when you move away from your family for the first time and you're in an environment where you're struggling, and on the pitch especially. And then obviously, like, we had a good source of small community, right, during COVID. Me, you, Max, Zach,
Brian,
B-Sun, of course, and like and George, and like we'd have our meals in the dining hall, and like that was it. Like, we'd chop it up, we'd break it down in the dining hall. We'd sit there for like
2 or 3 hours. Guys, whoever's never been to college in the States, the dining hall is the best place. Even though the food at times could be shocking, but this place, like, we would just go there. I would have like 5 meals in one sitting. You just go get food whenever you want. It's like buffet style. You just take whatever food you want. And we just sit there and shoot the shit for like 2 hours. Just talk about practice, talk about literally anything. Those were honestly some of the best moments. Especially freshman year in COVID.
That year, yeah.
When like the dorms, you couldn't really go into each other's rooms, even though we did. And like you would get in trouble if you got caught. The dining hall was the place to be.
Yep. Yeah, so like those moments in the dining hall is like what got me through, you know, because like those are the guys that were supporting me through hard times. And, you know, to explain why I was struggling was because I was just not at the level. Like, frankly, I wasn't at the level. I couldn't perform. And then I actually like sprained my ankle like on like the second day. And, you know, being like athletic and like physically agile is a big part of my game. So, you know, from that perspective, when you hurt your ankle, you're less mobile. Sometimes it's you also don't really want to step out. You can't step out of practice and like let yourself rest because it's your first week of Division I soccer. So it was one of those things where you just had to balance. And I ended up just like gritting my teeth and getting through it. And then when I went home that year in November, you know, we had that extended break during that year. I really did a lot of reflecting on my experience at UVM as a whole, but we're going to talk about my soccer experience. And like, obviously, like I realized that I just wasn't at the level. So what was I going to do about it? I wasn't just going to, you know what? Like, I will be honest with you. There were times where I thought about, is this really the right place for me? And like, I thought about transferring and, you know, going to a different school that might be more fitting for me. But I never ended up being serious about those ideas. And, you know, it came to me, I was just like working out in my basement one day in December of 2020. And I thought to myself, like, I can realistically control my development process based on how much work that I put in. And for me, it was just getting on the ball and getting touches and getting more comfortable just technically in soccer, because that was where I was struggling. And so the entire 2 months that I was home, I was just on the ball every single day, just trying to set myself up for success and having positive momentum from a technical standpoint, but also a confidence standpoint rolling into 2021 when we started our spring season. And, you know, not only did I change some of my habits technically by just training more, but I really took a step back and realized that something that was really inhibiting me through the fall of 2020 was just my overall mentality, right? And when you talk about mentality, one thing that comes to mind is your ability to get over a mistake, right? And so, you know, you're in your first couple months of, we're talking about the fall semester here, you're in your first couple months of training and practice, and, you know, you make one mistake in the beginning of practice, you get in your head, at least a 2, at least a 3, and, you know, you're just out of the session from that point. So one of the things I tried working on was being able to get over a mistake that you make and getting out of my head. And the way that I did that was journaling. So I started journaling my second semester freshman year, and every single day I would write down how I thought my previous session went, what I did well, complimenting myself for like my success, and, you know, getting confidence in what I can do and my strengths, and then also talking about things that I did struggle with, and then putting that into focus for the next session. And I took that into little actionable items, right? I'm a big believer in like positive momentum. To start off a session, it's so important. If you can just execute like 5 really good passes right in a row, and it's really just about focusing on receiving the ball, taking a good first touch, setting yourself up for a good pass, playing to the right foot, and it's simple, right? But if you can do that 5 times in a row, the ball starts rolling and snowballing in terms of like the confidence that you have to just do something with the ball, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you take a shit touch, your first touch, then it's like, oh, like I made a mistake, and how am I going to fix that? You know what I mean? So positive momentum and really reflecting with the journaling was something that completely changed my approach to the game.
Yeah, and I relate a lot to that because, well, I don't know if you remember, like me as a player, when I had my really good games, you knew from like the first like 5 minutes that I was having a really good game. And like if I was having a really bad game, probably in the first 5 minutes, I'd probably miss a pass. So maybe something as me as a player that I wish I was better at is like just being like, okay, maybe my 5 first minutes were bad, but the rest of the game could be good. So like,
Yeah.
and that was something I should have worked on more is if I started bad, my game was bad. If I started good, my game was good. If I started mediocre, the rest of my game would be mediocre. I would never just have like a good start and then be shit, or be shit and good. So like, I guess I was consistent in that, being shit when I started shit, but when I started good, I was always good. But I greatly relate to that, which is pretty cool.
I think that's the hardest thing in sports is just being able to have like a positive mentality after you make a mistake, right?
We were bad at that, bro.
Yeah.
I would curse.
Yeah.
I would just take a bad touch and I would just be so pissed.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with me?
Because a player your caliber, has high expectations for themselves. So when
Yeah.
you make a mistake, it's like, what are you doing? But people make mistakes.
I
And,
know.
A really quality player is going to limit those mistakes, but then the best of the best are going to make a mistake and then forget about it.
Yeah. But to what you spoke about, you put in a lot of work, and I think from that fall to the spring, you saw a lot of that work pay off. Because if you told me in the fall in our freshman year, so our fall in our freshman year was COVID, so our season was suspended and it was put into the spring. And if you told me in the fall that Jake was going to have any minutes in the spring, I would have said no chance. I would have said this guy is not going to play 1 second in the spring. But it comes the spring and you play, albeit you're not playing center back anymore, you're playing striker, crazy classic UVM switch, and you play well and you score your first goal.
Yeah. And that was like such an incredible moment because you look back at the struggles that you had in that first semester, and then to think that you're now actually like deserving playing time, and then I scored a goal, and it was such a great moment, and I really attribute it to the positive momentum that I was feeling from getting a little bit better every day, right? And a lot of the things that I got that positive momentum from was my just overall work rate as a striker. I just went out there and I pressed and I tried to disrupt the game, and I was not like a technical player by any means, so I did as well as I could to hold the ball up.
He was nicknamed the Rhino for a reason.
I'd just run around and try to disrupt the game, and if I was in front of goal, I would do my best to put a shot on target.
That's what you would do. You would rip it as hard as you can.
And sometimes it worked, a lot of times it didn't work. But that, between my freshman first semester and second semester, was definitely where I felt the most growth in my game, just like technically, but then also like mentally. And it was just, for me, it was special because I can look at that moment in my life and really just think about how it is possible to accomplish goals, right? Because, I guess before that, I just, I didn't even think it was possible to step on the pitch, and it's just focusing on what you can control, whether that's your first touch or going to bed early, to boost your recovery.
And I think that work ethic and the work that you did that paid off is kind of a testament to UVM's success over the years. And I think someone like you really laid a foundation for other guys that saw like, okay, maybe this guy Jake did not have the level as a freshman, put in a ton of work, was always one of the hardest workers, and I could vouch for this. This guy was always one of the hardest workers on our teams over the 4 years that we were there. And for any freshman that came in and didn't play, and I know in a lot of schools, freshmen come in, they don't play, they transfer out. But at UVM, these freshmen typically stay because they see guys like Jake, who, when they come in and Jake is now a junior or senior, they look and you could tell them, look, I didn't have the level in my freshman year. And let's take Andrew Miller, for example. He plays, guys, he's a UVM captain now. He's, I think, first team America East this year. He didn't play his freshman year, barely played his sophomore year. But he has a guy like you to look up to and see like, oh, this guy barely played his freshman year, but he's still here. He grinded. Now he's playing even more, slowly. So I think you kind of laid a really, really good foundation for UVM to show that if you put in the work, like it's gonna pay off over the years there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Miller has a killer mentality. Shout out Emily. But I think the situation is even a little bit different because, we stepped into the program when, now they're winning national championships, bro. We weren't even winning America East championships back then. So the level overall was easier for me to step into a role where I could play, right? And then over the years, where you expect, someone maybe to get minutes in their freshman year, maybe they expect to be like a starter in their senior year, if that's a linear development curve. But for me, it was tough because the competition within the team just kept getting harder and harder every year. And credit to the coaching staff at UVM, they did a really good job recruiting. Just the internal competition was so fantastic that honestly, like throughout my entire 4 years, I probably played like the same amount of time each year.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But your role was more prominent as you got older. You were a leader in the team. Like although like your minutes may have been stagnant, like your role and every time you stepped on the pitch, like you noticed like Jake's playing today, like this guy's gonna come, this guy's the rhino, and he's gonna press the living hell out of you. When, like for example, we're playing Syracuse our junior year, and you're on the pitch pressing the Syracuse center backs like an absolute animal, low-key scoring 3 offside goals in the game. Which imagine those were all onside, maybe bro, your whole career would have been
positive momentum would have rolled another way, I guess.
And then you would have been drafted fucking first overall or something.
No, that would have never happened. But I appreciate that shout out. And I think throughout my college career, I really just embraced like the strength that I had, which was to bring energy onto the field, and I just fit really well into the Vermont style of play in terms of like being super aggressive in the press, and I embraced that, and like I embraced my role as someone who was just gonna step onto the pitch and do everything I could to win the ball back and just work super hard, because I knew that I just did not, like, I was not a good soccer player. Like I wasn't a good like technical player, but I just worked very hard, and I did what I could for the team from like a running standpoint, realistically. Yeah.
I want to go back to freshman year because I think we have a lot of funny stories. What's kind of like the best, when you look back your freshman year, what's like the best memory that you could think of? Because I have one that we haven't spoke about that's low-key funny.
My favorite... Oh man, bro, there's just so many to sift through. I can talk about... I don't want to talk about that one.
I have one. I don't know.
I want to hear yours.
I don't like, this just came back to my mind, but since it was COVID, we were kind of like stuck in our dorms a little bit, and there was like some periods where, like, let's say for example someone was in close contact with COVID, Like we wouldn't train for a few days or something like that. But I had a little like ball, and I don't know why, if we were there early or something, but like I feel like at one point we were in the dorms, like just like the athletes.
Yeah.
And we would take that little ball and play soccer tennis in the common room. And I forgot that we did that, but it was so like low-key fun, and we were taking it seriously. Like, this is our training. Like, we're gonna play soccer tennis. This is how we get better. Like, we were on it. Like, when we couldn't go to like the varsity gym, we got a membership at Planet Fitness. Worst gym ever. $10 though, because we were piss poor. I mean, we weren't piss poor. We were
college students.
We were college students.
Not a ton of expendable income.
And we would drive freezing cold in the winter.
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Early.
Rally the boys and go do a stupid workout at Planet Fitness. It's not stupid, but like we were dedicated, and that shit was fun.
And Danny, like, based off of, like, the Planet Fitness story and, like, you know, the soccer tennis story, like, these are just ways that we had to get creative in our training because we were in school during COVID, and I think those specific times happened because we actually were supposed to come back in January 2 weeks early because we had our season starting at the end of January, right? And then someone ended up getting COVID, so we couldn't train together, but we were all there and we were just stuck. Like, we couldn't do so. That's why we got the Planet Fitness.
Yeah, and
membership.
Bro, oh my God, I mentioned this in one of my other podcasts about how when someone got COVID, they'd be sent to exile in a dorm jail for all the infected.
Oh my God.
You were in one of those exile dorms. You gotta talk about that a little bit.
I would love to talk about this because if I'm gonna be 100% real with you, a lot of people hated on the Gene Mance experience. You know, like, this is
Gene Mance was the dorm that it was the exile.
Yeah,
dorm.
so Gene Mance was like an international dorm, like farly removed from campus, where if you got COVID, you were sent to, you know.
Bro, they would come pick you up and drive you there. Huh?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, and you were sent basically to exile, right? You had to, you know, stay in a room by yourself for whatever, like 10 days, right? And so when, you know, I got COVID and this seemed to be my only fate, I was not excited. But when I got there, you know, it ended up turning into an experience that is a top 3 college memory for me, just like the entire 10 days. So essentially, you know, I get there, I meet the nurse who's on the bottom floor, and, you know, she's just doing her job managing the students that are in quarantine here. And, you know, I get escorted to the 6th floor, which is where I stayed for 10 days, and I found my room, and I sit in my bed, and I'm like, all right, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I gonna do now? I'm just here for 10 days. I guess I had work to do, right? Like, I was in class, we were taking
online courses,
but the season had ended just like 2 weeks prior, right?
Yeah. So
for me, this felt like a lot of freedom because, you know, this is my first. And that might sound weird, you know, you're in a room and you're not supposed to leave, but this for me is a sense of freedom for me because I wasn't locked down to like an NCAA Division I like Vermont schedule, right? Like I didn't have to, and it was nice to have like a little rest. It's always nice to have like a couple of weeks after the season where you can just rest and reset. And so I'm sitting there for a little bit. I think I'm kind of just like enjoying having nothing to do for a little bit, and then I take a walk out into the hallway and I go use the bathroom, and I immediately run into this dude. His name is Jaime Deno. I actually saw him like 6 months ago when I was in Spain, and I met up with him in Madrid, and, you know, we got into conversation, realized that we both knew Pablo. Pablo was someone that played on our team from Spain for that like 6 month or maybe even like 2 month period. Anyway, like, we came to the realization essentially that no one was watching us. Like, no one was telling us what we could or couldn't do, and we were just alone because we had COVID. So no one was really like coming to check up on us because they could risk infection.
How'd you eat, bro? They bring you food?
Yeah, they had a little.
Would they like open like a slot, like
No,
a prison?
bro. So Gene Mance has a dining hall.
There was a
and,
dining hall?
I mean, they had like packaged meals for us essentially. So
gross.
you could eat down there. You could bring it upstairs. But to get
Definitely was gross, bro.
Bro, it was gross. But the thing is, when you have COVID, you can't taste. So it doesn't matter. And you're also not that hungry. So you're just, regardless, Jaime and I, and, I met some other people, we're all there and realize we have nothing to do. And we end up just like all set, like we all have COVID. So we can't infect each other, right? So it's like, all right, why would we be sitting in our rooms? Like, why don't we just like make this fun? So for the next 10 days, we figured out ways to, I don't want to, get myself in trouble here. I feel like I'm far enough removed from this experience in UVM, but, we'd find ways to really enjoy ourselves in this dorm. We'd get together and we'd play games in a room, and it's like, some nights it'd be 10 people, other nights it'd be like 15 people. And
did you guys like find ways to smuggle like alcohol into the dorm?
Yeah, to be transparent. I don't even want to tell you how, bro. I don't even want to tell you how.
Like, how?
Okay, bro.
What, somebody throwing it from the bottom into the window?
Bro, we felt the most amount of autonomy that we had ever felt in our entire lives here. We're locked up in Gene Mance, but we also felt like we could do whatever the fuck we wanted. And so I would double mask. I'd simply walk out of the door and I'd walk down to the mobile.
Wait, you can leave?
I'll just leave, bro. I would leave, I'd get a 30 rack and I'd walk right back up. I had COVID, I double masked. I was in the store. Looking back,
you could.
terrible decision. Like, would I do it again?
100%,
Anyway,
bro. But like, I didn't know you could leave.
Bro, we just like left because the nurse left after 5. No one else was in the building except us. What? And we walked down and we would just get 30 racks every night.
So you could. Why did you
play games, pizza box, beer pong, whatever, and then we would.
We think there'd be cameras or something. They have you guys in exile, and
bro.
It was the Wild West. COVID was the Wild West.
And we would. Oh my God, bro. We would get like drunk, so drunk, bro, and we just start destroying shit in Gene Mance.
You know how I avoided Gene Mance? Bro, because I get a call from a nurse one day. They're like, yeah, someone's going to come pick you up today. You're going to go to exile in Gene Mance. I'm like, what? I didn't even have COVID. I was like, no, I'm not going. They're like, yeah, you have to quarantine. You can't be in your dorms. I'm like, no, I'm not going. Like, why would I go? Like, I'm going to get COVID there. I'm like, I'm going home. I'm like, can I go home? They're like, no. I'm like, why can't I go home? I'll just quarantine at home. They're like, okay. I don't know how, like, they just said, okay, I guess you could go home. Really? So I just, I got up, whatever I was doing, I packed myself, I went to Montreal for 10 days, quarantined, and then came back. Like, thank God, because I would have killed myself. Like, I'm not much of a drinker anyway, so, like, I wouldn't have the experience you had.
For me as a freshman being 18 years old, it was just a freeing experience, and I won't go further than that. But it was, dude, top 3 moment of college, just being with those people, and we created the Gene Mance community, we made something really good out of a really shitty situation.
Yeah, bro, that's class.
Bro, it was unreal.
So forget about freshman year a little bit. I want us to jump ahead a little bit more forward.
For sure.
And like you said, we go into UVM when UVM is, bro, nobody even knew what Vermont was. Nobody knew what Vermont was a state until UVM won the national championship, I think.
Yep.
Or until we went to the Elite 8.
Yep.
We put Vermont on the map.
Yeah.
And that year was a crazy year because going into it, like, we had no idea that we're going to be that good of a team. We get ranked 1 week. We're like, damn, we're ranked. We keep winning. Keep winning. We're ranked. We keep higher and higher. We jump, like, in the top 10. Then, America East playoffs. We're like, it's the semifinals. We're like, for sure, we're going to go into the finals, like, try to win it. And we lose in the semifinals to Albany. And you're like, what? And at this point, I didn't even know what RPI meant. I didn't even know how you get into the tournament if you don't win your I don't even know how you get into the national tournament if you don't win your conference tournament, because every conference tournament winner gets automatically into the national tournament. So we lose the semifinals. I'm like, oh, bro, come on. How do we lose? We're ranked all year. We lose to Albany. Then we get to the national selection show and we get in. We're like, damn, we're in the tournament again. Second year in a row, because we won America East the year before. And then who do we play? We play Quinnipiac. Yeah, we played Quinnipiac.
Yeah.
We beat them in overtime.
Big goal.
Damn, our first ever NCAA win together as a team. Then we go private plane.
Rolls Royce.
Now we're living in luxury. We win our first round, which was hosted at UVM. The next morning, they're like, we're flying private, and we're going to SMU. We're going to Houston.
Dallas.
Dallas.
Texas.
We're like, what? Bro, we're like in cloud nine. We go there, we get steak dinners, we get amazing food. We're at SMU now, and we're in the game. They score.
Yep.
They score. Down 2-0 at halftime. I remember being in the locker room halftime, and bro, not only was 2-0, they annihilated us. Like, bro, I remember getting subbed in, and I was like, bro, okay, there's levels to this. Like, we are definitely not good enough. Robbie Dow giving the halftime speech, gives this whole great speech, how we're going to beat them. And we're like, Coach, you have 12 players on the board for us.
Of course.
No wonder this tactic is working. You have one extra player. He's like, oh, what? He's like, okay, let's just get back out there. We go back in. First, 20 minutes of the second half, nothing is happening. Nothing's working. Then I'm not going to, toot my own horn, but I get subbed in with Garrett.
Yes. Catalyst.
Low key, we start playing a little bit. We get a goal. We're like, oh, damn. We get a second goal, in the span of 10 minutes. And then
Max Murray, both of them, right?
Yeah, Max Murray. Crazy. This guy, what a season he had.
Wow.
NYCFC player now. We get 2 goals. We tie it up. I'm like, whoa, what's happening, bro? 45 minutes ago, I didn't think I could touch the ball. Now we're bopping it around. We get a 3rd goal, and we upset SMU. Bro, what a feeling that was. Do you remember that feeling?
Oh my God, dude. It's like we didn't know what to do with ourselves. It's just so much joy and pride in that moment because, 45 minutes before, we thought the game was over. Realistically, most people, we believed in ourselves, of course.
Bro, I didn't believe anything, bro. At halftime, if you told me we were gonna win that game, I would have said bullshit, bro. When I got subbed in with 20 minutes left, I was like, alright, bro, 20 minutes left. It's the 20 minutes left, the season's over, bro. Let me just go and have fun. At least enjoy this. Then when we won, I was like, what?
And it's one of those, it's one of those examples of positive momentum, bro.
Bro, I don't think UVM is at where the program is right now if we don't do that comeback against SMU.
That's a great take, bro, because eventually that propelled us to, the Elite Eight, and we definitely don't want to skip this next one, right? This next one is special, so special, bro. I think it was, talk about my top 3 moments of college. That's definitely in there in terms of the SMU win, but then even the next one, right?
Because while we're celebrating the SMU win, the athletic school director comes up to us. He's like, guys, UCLA beat Clemson, I think.
Yup.
And we're hosting the next round. What? UCLA is coming to UVM, bro, to play us in the Sweet 16.
UCLA flew from LA to Clemson, back to LA, and now they have to go even further back all the way up to Vermont.
To play us.
Yeah.
Bro, what a game that was. That was the best, best moment. And I'm sure, those guys who, were there when they won the national championship, that was definitely their favorite moment. But for us who weren't there, that was top level.
That was top.
I want to see your perspective of the game and how you felt.
I mean, the game was over before we even stepped on the field. for, one reason in particular, and I'll say this. As a group, we came to a decision that, we were really going to embrace Vermont mentality in early December. I think it was December at this point. Maybe it was late November.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's so cold. It's below 0 degrees Celsius, and there's snow all around the pitch. It's literally like you're playing indoor soccer, because if you get pushed out of bounds, like you're falling on your shoulder, and you could get hurt. It's icy. UCLA is coming all the way from LA. They're used to their 80-degree weather. What is that in Celsius? Like 20, whatever. All right. Like, it's hot, right?
Yeah, it's
nice.
hot.
It's
and
nice
I got to live there. It's
there.
way nicer than Vermont at that time of the
So
year.
from your perspective, what's it like to come from like the super nice Southern California weather and then have to transplant into
Bro,
super
you want to
cold
kill
Vermont,
yourself.
right?
You literally
Right.
don't want to live.
So, that at the end of the day, the game was over for that reason before it even started. And so we really embraced that, that home field advantage, not only with the incredible community support that we got, because I think there were over like 3,500 fans surrounding the field, pouring out of the bleachers, but we also chose to wear our cutoffs in that warm-up. So when we walked out of the locker room, we had to walk by the UCLA players who were standing in a little alcove watching us walk by, right? And now we're walking by
Like psychos with our cutoffs.
with our cutoffs, walking into negative degrees Celsius weather. And these guys are from UCLA. And of course, how do they even have like super nice like parkas? Because they shouldn't even have that, because they never need to use them. But of course they do have them, and they're wearing them, and they're bundled up. They got their hats and their gloves on, and they watch us walk by with our cutoffs. And I can like vividly remember them just like snickering at us, like laughing, like. But then I think what really happened in their head was, are these guys for real? Like, are they really built that different, right? And so we caught them off guard from the jump, got in their mind by wearing cutoffs, warming up in super cold weather.
Not only
while they're in their
cutoffs, like
parkas.
none of us wore Under Armour during the game.
No,
we
no,
all
no.
played in short sleeves.
Yeah.
I think Bazi wore Under Armour. Sorry.
Yeah,
about that.
Bazi comes from a warm environment, so we get it. But I think that set the tone for the game, right? And then that entire walk was just like so memorable for me, from the locker room to the pitch, because you walk past the UCLA players and your cutoffs, they're laughing at you. You're just absolutely like buzzing, right? Like you're pumped.
Smack them.
And then you walk outside. Do you remember the line of
bro.
people, the tunnel of people that we walked through?
I get goosebumps now.
Dude,
thinking about
I
it.
literally have goosebumps right now just thinking about that, because that was like probably like the number one experience that I had at UVM, just like feeling that community support, walking out onto the pitch, and it just gives you so much confidence as an individual, and that's happening across the board on the team. So as a team, we just had so much confidence, so much momentum rolling into this game, and at the end of the day, it was over before it started.
And if you put into perspective where we came from freshman year, like, I don't know if you remember the America East Finals, like how we got absolutely throttled by UNH. And if you told me two seasons later we'd be playing UCLA in the Elite Eight of the national tournament, I'd be like, bro, shut up. Like, you think we're not good enough for that? And for it to actually like happen, it's just like, it's honestly crazy to think. And then 2 years after that they win the national championship is even crazier. And that's like forever will be like that. And it feels like such like a long period of our lives, but if you put into perspective like how long it actually was like a 2-week span, because like you play the first round on a Thursday, the second round on the Sunday, you get a week off, you play that next weekend, get a week off, you play the next weekend. So it's in reality 2.5 weeks max, and that's like the period that we were living. That 2.5 week period was the best time of my life.
And it was also elevated by the fact that the World Cup is happening in Qatar at this point, right? So like, dude, our life is so much revolving around soccer, because we're playing at the biggest stage that we possibly can at this point in our life, right?
Yeah.
In these circumstances. And then we're also watching the World Cup. We get to go home and like just watch the best of the best play. So yeah, it was such a great 2.5
And
weeks.
the amount of steak dinners that we
my
got, bro. Oh my God, bro. What? Bro, I swear to God, like I started UCLA and I started Syracuse, but I didn't start the first 2 games. And the amount of food that I was eating, I was like, bro, like I'm literally gonna gain 15 pounds with the amount of food they're giving. And I don't know, we'd go to dinner and they'd be like, okay, we have to spend this amount of money because we like have a private room, and they would just be bringing us food. We're like, what is happening, bro? Throughout the season, we're just eating
like kings.
What were we eating during the season, bro? We'd have what's that place called? Panera.
Chicken Charlie's, bro. Oh, Panera before the games.
Panera, I would kill myself.
I had Panera last night.
Ew, bro.
I know you would say that.
I hate Panera, bro. Oh my God, bro, I hate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to like feel that nostalgia before I talk to you, because it was gonna bring back some memories.
Oh, bro, good memories.
But yeah, like to go from eating Chicken Charlie's and Panera to having steak dinners, eating like kings before these games.
What a time.
What a time to be alive.
And like, I'd love to talk about all like the positive moments that we had in college, because we could literally do a podcast of just us talking about stories like that.
Yeah.
But I do want to get into the part where, and like I said at the beginning of the episode, we kind of have a similar journey in the sense that like we graduate at the same time, and we both have an extra year of COVID, and because of the COVID year, and we decide to go our separate routes and leave UVM and gain a different experience. And I think that's why you did it as well, because you wanted the new experience, and 100%. You felt like the time at UVM was just repetitive, and we both end up missing out on the national championship. So we kind of do know that feeling, and we share that common emotions together.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really say that it's one of regret, because you can't regret the decisions that you made. But at the same time, it does suck to miss out on, such a big accomplishment, because we were there almost all the way up until that point. And obviously, like, it's a new team that's coming in, and I mean, they're a fantastic team. And I might look at it a little bit differently than you personally. But like, how did you feel? Like, if you
bro, when they won, I was happy, but I cried after. And you were there at the game, and you were celebrating with them. Yeah. But if I was there, I would have been happy. Like, bro, I was happy, but so sad, because I wished so much that bro, I would write it in my room, like, I want to win a national championship. I want to win a national championship.
Yeah, and I think you personally drove the program, to a new level a little bit more than I do. So you felt like you had a little bit more ownership of that success, For me, the reason that I ended up deciding to leave UVM, and it was such a hard decision, and I spent months teetering between both options. But for me, just to touch that point that you talked about in terms of just like gaining new experience, it made sense for me because I had graduated. I was graduating, right? It's I can go enter a new program. It's not like I'm transferring and like the credit situation is a mess. Like, it's a very clean.
Yeah, it's very clean transfer.
It's a very clean transfer, and from a social perspective, a lot of my friends outside of soccer were leaving Vermont. So my experience, if I had stayed, would have been pretty much solely within the team, which is not a bad thing at all, because I have so many great, relationships that have come from UVM soccer. And, outside of that, I really just felt like for me, it was best to just go have a new experience in life, something just to add to my list of experiences. And I think at that point in my life, I was 21 years old, and I thought that it was best to just put a different situation in front of me and help me in my like adaptability skills. You know what I mean? And it was more of a personal growth thing than it was like wanting to leave UVM, because at the end of the day, like I did a lot of me wanted to stay, and ended up going to Fairfield University. Made that decision after graduation. Like I had graduated and I still didn't know what I was doing. I knew that I probably wasn't coming back to Vermont. I was in the transfer portal, but I didn't know where I was going. And on my drive home from Vermont to Rochester, New York, I stuffed my car to the brim with all of my shit. Like I could not see what was happening behind me. Like it was probably I was a wrecking ball on the road, but I was going slow and I had my side mirrors, whatever. That's when I had the conversation with Christian Mikowski, who's the coach at Fairfield, that I committed to go there. So it was like, for me, that was like crazy transition because I'm leaving Vermont. I don't know what I'm doing. Halfway home, I'm like, all right, like I know what I'm doing now. And it was something that was exciting. But leaving UVM was so hard because it's such a great place. So many good people there. And, to watch the trajectory of the program, it's hard to step away from that.
Yeah. Like you wish you were still there because you know how fun it was.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult part because you just want to enjoy those times again.
100%.
Even now when I see it, like obviously the team there's a lot of the new players, but like you kind of know exactly how they're like when they win and score an overtime goal, you're like, damn, like I know how that feels. That was fun.
Yeah.
And you wish you could feel it all over again. I think that's the best part of college for me is like because you're with the same group of guys like every single day and you live with them and you're not competing.
Yeah.
You're competing for like playing time, but it's not to the point where it's cutthroat yet in professional, because I know in professional it's like you're friends with your teammates, but you're also like, I need to feed my family. I need to play over this guy because I need the contract next year, or else I can't pay rent. I can't feed my kids. But in college, it's not that cutthroat. You're actually friends with the players on your team, and you live with them, and you're actually really, really happy when someone does something, and you're proud of them. Mm-hmm. And as a team, it's just so much better to celebrate, and that's what I miss the most about college.
100%. And
so that's what makes me kind of sad because I want to feel it, but happy for them when I know that they're feeling those great emotions.
And when I kind of just want to like propose this idea here, and this is something that I'm sure that you agree with me here. We talked about how quickly Vermont rose to success, but we didn't really talk about how, outside of like good recruiting, right? But at the end of the day, like my time at Vermont was spent in a locker room with people who supported each other so much, right? Like at the end of the day, like I've never been a part of a locker room that wasn't closer than at UVM. Like everyone was a brother. And a lot of times what happens in especially the college environment is similar to what happens in the pro environment, right? I want to be the guy. I want to be the one that scores all the goals. Like I want to be the one that's shining brightest in the big moments, right? It's a lot of like selfishness. That's something that UVM that just was not there. We eliminated all sorts of selfishness because every player adopted a team first mentality, and we won as a collective unit, from the guy who's scoring the game-winning goals to the guy that's the last person on the bench, right? And the culture at Vermont was unmatched, right? And it's because everybody was so bought in to putting the team first. No one had that selfish mindset. And that's why we had, when we were there, the success that we did. And then they went on to win the national championship because they were able to continue to recruit better players and continue to have that unselfish collective team mentality.
I think that mentality comes from the players within, especially when we got there, because the people in the leadership roles weren't the stars of the team. Like I'm going to shout out Nolan Jimmo.
For sure.
He was our captain for first 3-4 years that we were there. And like he barely ever played, and he was the captain, and everyone looked up to him as the leader. So like when you have a captain that's not playing, like that mentality is there. Like if you were selfish and you wanted to be the star, you were almost casted out of the team.
Yep.
Because we only cared about the collective. And then it only like continued like with you for as an example, like you were, as the years passed on, in a leadership role, and you were working harder than anyone else. Zach, for example, like he worked hard to be the player that he was. I was all like, I just led by example, and like I was just thrusted into like I never wanted to be a captain, but I was thrusted into it, and like I just embraced it, and like I don't feel like I'm a selfish guy, so like it just naturally like continued that mentality. So I think we could give ourselves a little bit of props as players that we helped that mentality grow.
For sure. I definitely feel that. And like, yeah, dude, I think what you brought to the table was just a level of professionalism for others to follow, right? Like, you know, you get to the pitch and you're shaking every coach's hand. Like that's something that they probably taught you at the Impact, right?
Yeah.
But it's such a good trait that, you know, people see that, and it fosters such a great environment, right? When you just see guys like you doing the right things every day, taking care of their body, eating the right things, doing the little things like rolling out and stretching after practice. Like those are all things that you help to set an example at Vermont. And you know, you talk about a little bit of a framework that we had a role in setting and catalyzing into a super successful season last year. That's why for me, I felt like so proud, right? Because although I can't claim national champion, right? Because I wasn't on the team, my brothers that I fought on the pitch with and in the locker room with and like had so many shared experiences with, they won. And so I know what they went through and like everything that they did to get there. So I felt like I could just so easily vicariously live through that. And like I did end up like I went down to North Carolina and like I just couldn't help but be a part of that, and just I was so happy.
Yeah.
So happy, bro. Like
You and James you guys have could relate, because you stormed the pitch when they won the national championship, and James stormed the pitch when we beat UCLA.
That's unreal. That's unreal. Yeah. I stormed the pitch, and there's this like picture of me wearing like a gold chain, and I think I have my arm around ZB. Somehow this picture ends up on ESPN, bro. Like I have like all my friends like sending me pictures, be like, yo, is that you? Like, what do you do? And then like the next day, like Men in Blazers post this image. I'm like, bro, like I didn't want to be in the spotlight like that, because it's not my championship.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I felt like a little bit awkward about. Yeah, I felt like a little bit of an imposter for that. But at the end of the day, I was just so happy and excited that I wanted to celebrate with them.
Yeah.
I ended up getting my chain snatched. Had a little bit of a scar on my neck. I think it was actually my scarf. Some lady like ripped the scarf off of my neck, and I had a crazy brush burn from it. But you know, I would have taken more of a physical impairment to that to celebrate with the boys on the field.
Yeah. And then, well, you go to like at this point, you're done with college now, and we've spoken. I mean, bro, we haven't even spoken about Spain yet. So you finished college, and I remember I finished college at the same time as you, and I'm in kind of like limbo trying to find some professional opportunities because I want to continue playing. Nothing really pans out for me. And then I get an opportunity to go play in Spain.
Yeah.
And I have no idea that you're on the team already. And you send me a text, you're like, bro, like, are you going to come? You're going to come to the team? I'm like, wait, what? You're there?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. So you give me a FaceTime call. We talk a little bit. You kind of, a familiar face being there. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take this jump. I'm going to go play in Spain. Like, when am I ever going to go play in Europe and get a chance to live in Europe? And have a friend there already there waiting for me so I can acclimate easier. So then I just want you to talk a little bit about your experience in Spain, because for me, I wasn't there as long as you. For me, it was almost like an extended vacation, because I was there for maybe 3 months, and then I left because I thought I was going to end up going to New Zealand.
Yep.
Didn't pan out.
Yep.
But you were there for a good 5-6 months.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about that experience living in Europe, playing in Spain,
Yeah.
and how it kind of that transition from college to not real life in Spain, because we were still kind of living a feverish dream being there. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a special time, bro, and it was, dude, some really great memories that we spent there, and we'll get to that. But I kind of want to talk about like why I made the decision to go there, and it stems from the fact that I was at Fairfield and had a season that I wasn't satisfied with. You know, I actually had an injury 6 weeks before the start of the season. Like, I tore my hamstring, tried making a comeback. In preseason, I wasn't ready, didn't really end up playing till the second half of the season when my hamstring was ready. And at the end of the day, I was grateful of the opportunity that I was given when I played there. And part of the reason I made the decision to transfer was because I wasn't a striker. I wasn't good to play my back to goal. I played right back. I played outside back when I was at Fairfield. But my entire time there, I just was completely dissatisfied with my performance because I was having this ongoing injury, and I just felt like if I were to step away from the game after my Fairfield season, it wouldn't have been right, because I felt like I realistically could do more as a player, and that injury was a massive factor in why I then went on to seek out new other opportunities, because I could not close the chapter of soccer on such a poor note of being injured and just having a dissatisfactory season. So I had a friend actually who was playing in Spain, and I called him up and I was asking him what kind of opportunities he has for me, and he was there for 5 years prior to that. Dylan Cladstrup is his name, and he introduced me to Jaime Morales, who's a UVM alum, and he had this program over there called E-Tour, and it seemed like a cool opportunity, not only to continue to play soccer in a cool place that I'd never been, but also just a nice opportunity for me to figure out what I was doing with the rest of my life. So for me, I made the jump because I couldn't close the soccer chapter after a dissatisfactory season in Fairfield. And essentially it was like a retirement gift to myself in a way, a way to wind it down on a positive note. It was a unique experience because now we're playing in a country where soccer is the biggest part of the culture.
yeah,
Right. However, some of these places don't quite have the infrastructure that we have, and we were used to playing in Division I, at the Division I level in the U.S. So when we got to Spain,
it's a shock.
it's a bit of a shock.
And you think a lot of people afterwards after I came back from Spain, they're like, oh, it must have been crazy there, right? But once, yes, I'm sure when you play La Liga and second division, third division, it's crazy. But once you get down to the lower divisions that we were playing at, it's what is this locker room? No hot water when they shower? Okay, cool. It's really a shock. And people are just playing because they love it. And you think that these teams, there would be no quality because you look at their stadium and it's nothing. But the players are dying, and they're doing everything because they don't want to get relegated, or they want to win promotion because it means so much to them, and it means so much to the community there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so highly integrated into the community there in Spain. I felt like it was interesting as an American playing, and as someone from Canada, not from Spain, playing in that sort of environment, because they weren't very they definitely
No, they didn't fuck with us.
They didn't like us. They didn't like us because we were coming over there and we were trying to take their spot. We were trying to promote to the next division, and I guess they kind of felt like we were trying to like geographically conquer them in a way,
Yeah. But so like I got there in the end of February, but you on New Year's Eve are on a plane going to Spain.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I chose the cheapest possible flight I could find, and it was 6 p.m. in JFK, and but we were flying on Spain time, right? So 6 hours ahead. As soon as we took off, we like did a little toast, like we didn't even have champagne or anything, but like the flight attendants came out with like 2025 glasses on or whatever, and it was like, but it's really just like 6 p.m. in the U.S., but we're celebrating Spain time. So yeah, that was my New Year's celebration. I get in, I landed in Valencia, and then I was just there and made my way down to Vinaròs.
Beautiful town.
Beautiful coastal city, right in the center of Barcelona and Valencia. And made myself a home there for about 5-6 months, and met a lot of really great people. And like this really brings back to like the main point that I was making earlier, just about what soccer has done for me outside of just driving like a competitive and goal-oriented mindset. It's also just like surrounded me with good people and given me the ability to create and maintain like relationships with people. And one of the things that I was able to do when I was playing over there, before like my registration was ready, I had like 3 weekends essentially where I like couldn't play because my future wasn't ready. And so I took advantage of traveling around Spain and other places in Europe to visit teammates that I've had in Vermont and at Fairfield. So like to connect the dots like that, and just kind of made some of those moments full circle for me, being able to visit some of my teammates, and outside of the the people that we met in Vinaròs.
Yeah,
those are some cool experiences.
And without Vinaròs, there would be no Cortado Pause, because this was where I see my first ever Cortado. So to give the gist of what we lived in Spain is basically we'd wake up, we'd go to training in the morning, they'd pick us up, or we'd find a way to training in the morning. We'd come back, we'd have lunch in like a dining hall
Shout out
type
Juliana.
of thing. They'd make us food. Then the rest of the day, it was up to us. And for us, as like, I don't know, we had like a close knit group of guys, like me, Jacob, and 2 other boys. We'd always go and hang out at the cafe. So it was a really small town. We'd walk everywhere. No one had cars. We had a bike that we'd share a little bit. We'd go after lunch, go to the cafes, work on some stuff that we were working on. Just smash cafe con leche, smash cappuccinos, crepes. This was our day. After that, we'd go work out at the gym that they gave us, free membership. Then we'd go have dinner. We'd go home, maybe watch some Netflix, go to bed. That was literally our days, and literally when you look back on it, it's like a fever dream.
Right.
But those were some of the best, like, just amazing moments, like in such a small town. And like, once again, going back to the sense of community, like we really felt like we felt integrated within the community there. And so like just one day, we're having a coffee, just me, Jacob, and 2 other boys. And when the physio comes by, and we were close with him, so he came and had a coffee with us, and he orders a Cortado. And I'm like, what is this little ass drink? He's like, oh, it's just espresso, cut with milk. I'm like, okay, cool. So then like, I was like alone by myself the next day in the cafe, and I just ordered it. I'm like, oh, it's decent. That's where my love of Cortados comes from. So shout out Cabedo, shout out Spain, shout out Vinaròs, because without you, there'd be no Cortado Pause, it's pretty cool.
This is true.
And shout out to the crepes in Vinaròs, Mozart Cafe. If anyone is ever in Vinaròs, no one is ever going to be in Vinaròs, by the way, but if you happen to be there, Mozart Cafe, get a Nutella con platano crepe.
Oh.
Fantastic.
So good. Really, really good pre-workout energy as well.
Where's pre-workout energy?
Depends on who you ask. But dude, I mean, those were some amazing moments in life, and for me at least, and I don't know about what it did for you, but it really gave me an extended period of time where I had limited responsibility, right? I was working like a remote job that, you know, I didn't have tons of responsibility for. But at the same time, it just gave me the ability to reflect on the first 22 years of my life and then think about what I wanted to do next, because during this time was when I realized fully that soccer was not in my future, and I had to figure out what I was going to, how I was going to make a living for myself. And so out of everything that happened there, over time, I started figuring it out a little bit.
And how was that transition when you realized, okay, soccer is not going to be, maybe, yes, it's still going to be part of your life, but it's not going to be a prominent figure in your life. How did it feel? Like, were you kind of sad? Because for me, like, soccer is still very prominent in my life in different fashions. So, like, it's been harder for me to accept everything, but just take me back to, like, how you felt and when you got back home and that transition of being back and now finding a job and working an 8 to 5 and getting into personal training as well, like me.
Yeah.
Just kind of take me through that.
So I want to take you through my mentality as I arrive in Spain, and that is that I'm not done yet. I'm coming off of a bad season where I did not have an opportunity to fully express myself as a player, which is why I wanted a second shot, essentially. And so I'm coming in with the mindset of I'm going to work super hard to create an opportunity for myself to get to the next level and to be a professional soccer player. And, you know, I experienced that mentality for probably about like 3 weeks. And then I hurt my hamstring again. And it's just like one of those things where that like really hurt, bro, because like I said earlier in this podcast, like I was a player that really relied on my athleticism, and just like losing that explosiveness and, you know, just like the time that it takes to recover from those sorts of things is so frustrating. And so like in that moment where I kind of tweaked it again, was one that really did shatter the dreams that I had of getting to the next level. But it's also just a bit of a reality check for me, because it would have taken some incredible development to really put myself in a position to be at the next level. Although I thought I was ready to put the work in, my body just wasn't. And my mindset shifted while I was there, to really just like soaking up the experience, knowing that this was my last experience where football, soccer was my like priority in life, right? So I really just tried to enjoy it as much as I could, while figuring out what was next. So when we were in Mozart, I was spamming job applications back in the United States. And so through that period of like mid to late March through June when I was there, and my new reality was like getting a job and supporting myself when I went back to the States was my priority. And so yeah, we'd be in Mozart, you'd be working on your book, your guide, and I would be grinding job applications and doing like the little bit of remote work that I had, and that was it. And like I said, a lot of the time that I spent there over 5 months was an opportunity for me to reflect. So I took a lot of walks, bro, long walks on the beach.
I was walking everywhere. I thought I walked a lot there.
I was taking the approach to recovery where, you know, all you got to do is walk around a little bit. I wasn't trying to overdo it. But yeah, just, you know, giving myself an opportunity to think and reflect. And I think, you know, you and I start having these types of conversations about like really what we want to do with the rest of our life. And me personally, like I was always broke in college. Like I never had money, and so for me it's like, all right, I need to figure out a way to like, make money as fast as I can right now, and maybe that's not the best mindset for, in terms of sustainability. So I'm going and I'm applying for these jobs in corporate America, and at the same time I'm really thinking about what I value in life, and like what I like to do, right? Because I want to do something that I love, so it doesn't feel like I'm working all the time. And realistically, that is like wellness, personal training, like feel good types of things. And so I knew that I wanted to put myself in that environment at some point. So we started having conversations, and I was inspired by you, who you were working on your guide and leveraging the experience that you had at the Division I level, and trying to create an awareness for people in Montreal about the opportunity that they have to go play in the States. So we started having conversations about like what can we do with our past experiences as top athletes to not only just like help the next generation, right?
Yeah.
Of athletes.
And I think, yes, right now we're sitting down and we're having a conversation like this, but we've had many conversations like this in Spain, where we just walk around and talk about life and like how we feel and where it's gonna lead each other. Because I think like in the end, as athletes, we understand each other the most. And I had my girlfriend on like 2 episodes again, and it's evident like she was never a high level athlete, so she can't really understand like things that we're going through. So we have to lean on each other in certain moments, because it's not easy to transition from playing every day and then transitioning to, for you, like being in corporate America, or for me, like just literally like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing stuff. Yes, I love coaching and training, but like I told you in the car on the way here, like it might seem like I know what I'm doing, bro. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing stuff and hope it pans out, and learning on the fly. And it's tough. It's tough because always in the back of your mind, you're like, I want to be playing soccer, which is stupid, I know, but it's the reality.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that little voice in the back of your mind where you're like, I kind of want to be playing soccer right now.
Yeah. No, I hear that, and that's hard, bro. And just to reference like your mentality of approaching your new business ventures, and how you want to give back to the next generation of players. Like, dude, I mean, you have so much experience and so much value to give these players, and you're learning so much. You've learned so much throughout the past 6 months about how to operate as a brand, as an individual. And the more that you keep doing it, bro, you just figure out, and that's the best way to do it, is just figuring out along the way, right?
Yeah.
Which is what you're doing. You're gonna learn so many things, you're gonna make mistakes, but that's the important part of being an entrepreneur, right? Making mistakes so you can learn from them. I'm not saying that you have, but just not being afraid to take those risks. In terms of like, do I have that voice in my head that's saying I want to play soccer? That voice shut down when I started experiencing the fact that like my body was telling me that I couldn't continue to play anymore. I've had these chronic injuries for the past like 18 months, and over that period, I've lost my spark. I've gotten burnt out of playing the sport, because every time I try to go back, I hurt myself, and it's a setback. So I don't have that itch right now, bro. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, like I found other ways to, get that outlet, which are working well for me right now. And that's just like doing the things that honestly, like I loved the most about playing soccer. Was like I wanted to be the best athlete that I could. So that's like being in the gym, lifting weights, always trying to get stronger. And then recently I've gotten into like, as my hamstring has started to recover a bit, like gotten into running. And that's just another way that I can push myself cardiovascularly. And so those are the things that have replaced soccer for me right now. However, I know for a fact that itch is going to come back, and I'm going to want to play. You know, and I'm going to look back at these moments, these opportunities that we had to spend time on the field with each other, and say, "Damn, I missed that. I wish I could experience that again." And so I feel lucky not to be feeling the way that you do about the fact that like our careers didn't pan out like the way that we wanted them to. But I'm sure someday like I will look back and say, damn, like I wish I could have done this longer, you know?
Yeah. And I think like for us, we say like, or for me, I'm like, hey, I didn't exactly accomplish what I wanted to accomplish in my sport. But I think eventually I'm going to get to a day where I look back and I say like, and I really take a step back and I say like, you know what, you did accomplish a bunch of things that I should be proud of. Right now, like, I don't want to say I'm not proud of it, but like, if someone says, are you proud of your career? Like right now, my answer would be no, which is stupid, but I'm just being honest. But I will eventually, and it comes with time. I think that one day, like someone's gonna ask me that question, and I'll say yeah. For you, I feel like you've had maybe an easier transition mentally. For me, it's been very tough.
Yeah.
But like, what has been the main and the hardest thing mentally for you with this transition?
Honestly, the hardest thing is losing that sense of like camaraderie and team community that I don't have when I walk into the office at 8 a.m. You know, I'm not going out and fighting war. I mean, you know, we tell each other that we're fighting a war with each other in the office, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, we're not physically doing that. So that's what I missed the most, and that's the hardest part, was just like the community aspect, because like I said, I've found ways to get that physical outlet for me, but it's not having that community aspect is tough, which is present in other areas of fitness, you know, and it's something that we're both trying to build individually. Is you know, a new community that we can surround ourselves with.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that we could always call each other and like we have not only me, like you have a bunch of brothers that you could call whenever times get rough, and that's something that I'm super grateful. Is like, at least I know that there's other guys that are going through transitions like this and who already have. And we could sit down and have conversations like this, which I think are amazing. And I hope this conversation, whoever listens, maybe there's another D1 athlete out there who just graduated or just their season ended and now they don't know what's happening with their life. And you're kind of feeling the same emotions that we've felt, and know that you're not alone in that. And that's, I think, the whole gist of this podcast is just like, whatever level of athlete you are, and even the top 1% of the best athletes ever will one day have to retire and go through the same transition that we will go through. Yes, they'll have millions and millions of dollars, but the core of it is they're going to go through that identity crisis, maybe to a lesser extent, but that transition just like we did. So I'm hoping that athletes eventually and this podcast gets to a point where it could help a lot of athletes. And like, for example, you made the effort to come travel 5.5 hours to have this conversation, to share your story, to help someone like you, or maybe another kid from Rochester who's going to graduate this year, and he maybe looks up to you and you don't know about it, and then he sees this post and he relates to you, you know. And I think you should be proud of yourself and the career you had, because if you would tell that 17-year-old Jacob Vitale who just got cut from the Empire Academy that you would go on and play in the Elite Eight against UCLA and have 5 years of college soccer, I think you'd be pretty proud of yourself.
100%. And, I think you're doing such a really good job providing a platform to have these kinds of conversations. And I honestly love what you're doing. Like, I touched upon it earlier, but you're chasing your dreams of like continuing to be able to live in a world where soccer is your life, right? And I respect that so much because you have so much passion for the game. I don't know anybody that I've met, honestly, any player that I've met at UVM or anywhere that just like had more passion for the game than you. And it really sucks, the fact that you find yourself in a situation where you can't continue to play at the level that you want to, but you've pivoted and now you're providing such an amazing platform and really amazing services for the youth and helping out the next generation and helping out anybody who's going to find themselves in the situation of having to walk away from the game. So I thank you for having these conversations.
I appreciate that, bro. And I think this is a good point just to end on a positive note like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to plug? Because I know you're starting something.
Yeah,
or
so
started.
I just became a personal fitness trainer. Last week I got my ISSA certification. So like I told Danny, I started working a job in IT services, and slowly but surely I want to try to transition into a more fitness oriented world, where I can surround myself with people that have similar passions as me. So I recently created a platform called Vitality Lab, where I'm hoping to just like spread overall positivity and examples of how you can live a healthy life from a general perspective. My last name is Vitale. It's close to vitality. It means full of life and energy. So I want to be able to provide a platform to share how to get the most out of your life and live life to the fullest. And I think you can accomplish that through fitness, through nutrition, through overall health and wellness. And there's so many people that are on the internet right now talking about how to get jacked, how to get super big, drinking energy drinks, taking steroids, maybe not treating your body the way that it's supposed to be treated. So, I'm trying to take a holistic approach through Vitality Lab and just share how you can live a life that is as fulfilling as possible.
Yeah, go check it out. You post some good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Good one.
That was crisp.